Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healy. Today we're taking a look at Longboard. This is a game by none other than Rainer Knizia, and it's published by 25th Century Games. So let's get down to the table and take a look. So here I have a 4-player game of Longboard set up for you. It's really simple to set up. All you do is you take all of the board cards and you shuffle them up. Then you deal 2 to each player as their starting supply of cards. You take the beach cards and put them off to the side, and I'll explain what those are for a little bit later on. Once you do that, you can choose the first player by taking the value of the 2 cards that you have in front of you, adding them together, and whoever has the lowest number is able to go first. So with 6 over here and 6 over here, there's a tie. So whoever is the younger player at that point is the person who goes first. So what's the goal of the game? The goal of the game is to have the shop that produces the best boards on the beach. And the way those boards are scored is by these little stickers that are on each of the board. You're going to be adding cards, making the boards longer. Then at the end of the game, we're going to be taking up the cards that are making up each board, counting the number of stickers that are on each of the cards, and that will give you a point value for that board. Add all of those point values together. Whoever has the most points is the winner. So let's talk about the actions that you can employ. So on your turn in a game of Longboard, you have to do 2 actions. Those actions can be different or they can be the same action, but you must carry out 2 actions. Well, you first of all can increase your supply, which is simply drawing a card from the top of the deck and adding it to your supply row. You can start or extend your board. When you start or extend your board, you're simply going to be taking a card from your supply and moving it down into your tableau. You can't use a wild card to start a board. You usually want to use lower numbers when you do that, because when you extend your board, you have to place another card on top of it. For example, if these were the same color, you stay the same color. You have to go equal to or higher than the card that's there. The third action that you have to choose from on your turn is to swap a card from an opponent's supply and use it. You can take 1 or 2 cards from your supply and swap it for a card in your opponent's supply. So if I wanted to, I could take these 2 4s and they equal 8. As long as the card that I'm taking is of lesser value than the cards that I'm giving them, it's okay. But I can only take 1 card from them. So I could swap these 2 4s for this 7 wild if I wanted to. You can swap 1 or any number of cards for 1 of another card as long as it's lesser value than the cards you're swapping. During the game, there is going to come a time at which you're going to be able to get 4 cards in a board. When that happens, you have now shaped a board. In other words, this board has enough cards in it to where it's going to now score you points at the end of the game. In order to denote that, we're going to take one of these beach cards here and simply stick it right underneath the card there at the bottom. So now it looks like it's a board that's sticking up out of the sand at the beach. If you have boards that have only 1 card in them at the end of the game, they're going to actually score you -2 points. If you have boards that have 2 or 3 cards in them, then they're going to score you -1 point. The end of the game can happen in a couple of different ways. The first way is that one person has, in a 2 to 3 player game, has 4 shaped boards, and one of them is 7 or more cards. In a 4 to 5 player game, you only have to have 3 shaped boards, and one of those has to have 7 or more cards in it. The other way that it can happen is that somebody draws the last board card on their turn. At the end of that player's turn, the game is immediately over. Once the game ends, there are a couple of shop achievements that you can add to it. First of all, 5 points are awarded to the player with the largest number of shaped boards. And the second shop achievement is that 5 points are awarded to the player with the longest board. In other words, the board that has the most board cards in it. But then you simply add up the number of stickers that are on each board. So with this one, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Once all of the players have done that, whoever has the highest score is the winner. If there is a tie, the tied player that has the highest value wild card in one of their boards is the winner. Now, the last piece of the puzzle are the objective cards. You can choose to use or not use objective cards in your game, and the game actually encourages you not to use them in your first couple of games, just so you can get that feeling under your belt before you give them a whirl. But if you do choose to use the objective cards, you'll simply deal out randomly 4 cards at the beginning of the game, and that will give you some things that you can shoot for. You have the fewest number of boards. Well, that'll give you 3 points. Your green board has the most cards in it, so that'll give you 3 points. This one, the blue board with the most cards in it, or the fewest stickers on a board will give you 3 points. Boards in all 4 colors are in your tableau. You have 2 boards with identical value. You have the big wave gun, so boards with all values 1 through 8. You're only able to score each objective card once, so let's get to my final thoughts. More often than not, unless it's really egregious, I'm going to keep my cons section to a minimum. I'm going to try to highlight a lot of the positives in the game. I will tell you whether or not I like the game, but generally speaking, I'm going to try to focus my energy on pointing out the positive stuff that the game will bring to the table. Sometimes it might be a long list, sometimes that might be a short list. I like having games like this in my collection because they are easy to teach and they have a very wide appeal, or they're what I would say has a very wide appeal. Who hasn't heard about surfing, right? You know what surfing is. You know what a surfboard is. You've seen pictures at least. Secondarily, the mechanisms are super simple. You only have a few choices to make, and those are usually choices that you can make fairly quickly as well. The point of the game is also one of those things that people can easily latch onto. You're simply trying to score the most points, and the way that you score the most points is accumulating the most stickers on your boards. That's super easy to explain, super easy to understand, and that's why I like to have these kinds of games in my collection. Honestly, do I enjoy the game that much? Not really. It's super simple, and it doesn't really engage my brain as much as I like, but I also don't like games that make you think too much, in my opinion. The artwork was a positive for me as well. There's not a whole lot of artwork on the actual cards other than the stickers and stuff like that. I did like the beach cards. I thought that was a nice little flair, thematic flair to the game that was cool. But generally speaking, I really enjoyed Longboard for what it is. So as far as the rating system is concerned here, we're not gonna do the numbers anymore. I'm not really cool on numbers, so I'm gonna keep it really simple and just do thumbs up. I only have 2 of them, right? I'll go 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up means I think you should probably go purchase it. 1 thumb up is I think there are going to be a lot of people that will enjoy it. Maybe it wasn't a game for me, but go check it out. Try before you buy is something that I used to always try to say. 0 thumbs up is probably going to be one of those games where I didn't like it, but again, as I said earlier, I'm going to endeavor to find the good that's in the game, but it's not something that I'm probably going to be keeping in my collection. So that's about it for Longboard. Hope you enjoyed the review. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.